Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the stream. It is I, DIGI Driver, welcoming you to your Monday, April 24th, 2023, unless you're already on Tuesday, which is theoretically possible if you are in places like, what, Singapore, anywhere in Australia, let's see, Vietnam, Korea, Japan, I think. But yeah, hello and good afternoon from the US. Again, it's currently 1:04 p.m. and we are back in Blender. We're going to be doing some Blender work today, and I think I'm going to do just a brief Blender session today, probably build a few things, some very basic things, maybe I'll apply some textures, and then we're going to go ahead and jump into a little bit of fun. But let me get started. I have been trying to create objects for Plymouth Municipal Airport, which is Kilo Papa Yankee Mike, an airport in Plymouth, Massachusetts, primarily for a good friend of mine, Eric Flight, but also to eventually release on Sim Market. And I am revising, or at least just taking a quick look at the table that I built. I might put a texture on this because I want it to look nicer, and I have some commercial use textures that I can use that I purchased a while ago. So I think I'm going to take advantage of them and try to create something with them today. So this is Blender 2.83, an oldie but still a workable version of Blender to export into Microsoft Flight Simulator. And now let's go ahead and I'm going to peruse. I think I already found some textures that I want to use. And there we go. So I have an albedo texture, ambient occlusion, metal. Metal is not going to be used, I don't think. So I'm going to use I might not use the normal because I want it to be extremely glossy, but I might use it anyway. So I'm going to grab the roughness, normal, and ambient occlusion and albedo textures and move them into the textures folder of my object. So give me a moment. You folks aren't seeing anything right now, but you will momentarily. And if you're saying hello, my apologies for missing the greetings, but at the same time, if you're watching on the replay, thank you very much for watching. All right, there we go. I called it a coffee table. So let's make it look more like a table. Let's grab the material section. We're going to create a new material. We're going to call it table. And we'll scroll down to the bottom, go to MSFS material parameters. We're going to do MSFS standard. And we are going to choose our texture. So the texture is already in the folder because I put them there. I'll start with the albedo texture. And since this is layout mode and not UV editing mode, I'm going to switch over to UV editing mode right now. So we'll put this to material mode as well. And we'll eventually apply to the other legs as well, maybe. But let's go ahead and set this up. I forget. I think we're in edit mode already. And what do I do? Let's see, click on UV. I believe I use Smart UV Project. Correct aspect. Okay, that's better already. And now we're going to, I think, select the face and size it and make it look correct. At least I thought we were. Oh, I know. I didn't pick the proper face here. Okay. So, I may need to undo the changes I made. There we go. All right. Let me try this again. Okay. Which one am I scaling? Hmm. That is hard to see which side I'm actually editing. It's been a while since I messed with UV maps, so can I just work on one side? Oh, no wonder I'm not seeing the arrows. Okay, what about you? Really? Oh, now I see what the problem is. There were a lot of faces that were kind of compressed in here. I don't know if I'm going to mess around too much with this. I might just scale all the textures since it is a simple object. Oh, well, for starters, they're not configured the way they should be. So let me what do I want to do? Well, we'll make this a local transform first. And can I pick individual faces from here? Aha. Okay, now I think I'm getting it. Okay, we'll try this again. Smart UV project, same thing. And now I will choose the individual texture I want to expand or manipulate. There it is. Now I think I can scale or adjust this individually without worrying about the other textures. Okay, that's better. All right. So, I don't know. I think about here is nice. Maybe a little bit smaller. Maybe. All right. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. I looked under the table and it wasn't fully expanded. Huh. Points off. I laugh because I'm that picky too. I might adjust that texture. I probably will, but let me focus. Okay, so we'll take a look at the material and I still need to apply some other textures. So we're going to go to the selectors here. We're going to apply normal. Oh, I completely skipped over roughness. Yeah, we'll apply the roughness PBR first. And you can tell when you shine a light on it, there's a difference. And now we're going to apply the normal. Okay, the normal really makes the difference in lighting just pop on this. And we have albedo. Wait a minute. I think I'm doing something wrong here. I put the excuse me. I put the normal and roughness on the metallic section. That doesn't seem right. Let's try it again. This is metallic and detail metallic. I don't know what the difference is, but I'm not going to sweat it. Something makes me think that this does absolutely nothing. This changes absolutely nothing about the way that I am working on textures, or I'm wrong and it changes exactly everything. Okay. We will reapply roughness. Okay, this is specifically for here. That's fine. And how about normal? That's weird. Oh no, wait. There we go. There's like just the tiniest bit of gloss. Now this looks like an actual table. You can't tell from this angle because the light's not hitting it good anymore. But let's see. I'm going to get rid of clear coat roughness, and roughness we're going to get rid of metallic because this isn't metallic. My textures are still here, and roughness. Sheen tint specular. Let's do roughness of roughly 0.2, and there is a little bit of shine to the table surface if you just like zoom in really close. No metallic because it isn't metal, it's wood, and that's it. In Blender, you can either use roughness or clear coat, I think, and MSFS won't complain. But if you use roughness and clear coat, what's going to happen is it's going to say something like, oh, well, you can't have both. Like, you have to pick one or the other. So let me try this. I am going to remove roughness entirely, and I'm going to add a clear coat. Interesting. Okay. So there's just the teensiest bit of texture to it. Now it looks supremely shiny. I don't want it to be too shiny though. Like just barely a 0.2, just so you can see a little bit of shine in that on that table. It's probably not that realistic though, because most coffee tables don't shine that much. So just barely like a 0.125 or higher. Just enough to make it shiny. And there we go. We'll save this as revision 2, and we're going to rebuild the texture because we had rebuild the object because we added material to it. So this is revision 2, and only thing I don't like is that the bottom texture is just super shiny. So let's fix that. Can I though? Maybe. Let's assign a texture to the bottom. Let's do table bottom. And we're going to add a new material. And the material, I think the material might be the same, but we're going to not include as much stuff. It's going to have a roughness layer, but it's not going to be shiny. So let's do that. Make it a standard and albedo texture, and we're going to just include a what would I do? Would I do a roughness map? Probably just a roughness map. And then we're going to assign it. Okay. Now, for whatever reason, it's way less correct, but let me do this. I'm going to rotate the texture by 90 degrees. Now at least it looks legit. And I'm going to take a look and see what's up. Let's get rid of the metallic separation, metallic treatment, because we don't need it. And get rid of clear coat roughness and go 100% rough. And what can we do? What can we do? Can I change this to be much darker? Let's see. Hmm. Okay, so it doesn't make a difference. Oh, that's because I'm working with the wrong thing. I'm supposed to be using the albedo color slider, I believe. Okay, so I can make it a little bit darker. Almost like to say we didn't bother doing much staining. And what do I care about? Do I care about roughness at all? If I take it away, it's almost like it doesn't use it. That's weird. So let's just try normal. Oh, excuse me. I put that in the wrong spot. Normal. Normal makes it look weird. Let's get rid of normal. We'll just put roughness back in, and I'll leave it alone for now. Table almost looks a little too shiny, but we'll leave that alone for now. Hmm. Actually, yeah, that's interesting. Right, here we go. Same thing here, we'll choose everything and we will add a material to it. What are we going to use? We're going to use table leg. And then the same material we applied for all four legs when we choose it, so we won't have to spend time configuring each one. Now, the question becomes, do I want to use the same exact texture for the legs, or do I want to play with a different material? Let me see what I have. I'm going to look at wood textures. There's a darker texture that I can use for the table legs, which might make sense. Wood veneer. Let's give it a shot. Let me try wood veneer. And we're going to copy the textures over the albedo. This is a darker wood texture. And we have ambient occlusion, normal, and roughness. So I'll drop those in as well, and we're going to choose a new material for it. So wood veneer, albedo, this is essentially what it looks like. It's a lot darker. I kind of like the idea, darker legs to the table, since it's almost like you don't want to put too much attention on the legs. They're probably going to get kicked around or something like that. I don't know how that logic works, but whatever. The texture placement's actually good, so I don't know if I want to do smart UV mapping, but I'll do it anyway. We'll try it. Okay. It didn't actually do anything to mess it up, so I'm happy about that. And I think I can probably get away with maybe leaving them the exact way they are. Okay, that's fine. Fine by me. Let's do the roughness for the wood veneer. Not much of a difference, honestly. And normal. Okay. A little weird in the sense that almost nothing happened, but we'll take away the metallic separation effect. Yeah, reminds me of the kind of like office tables where the table legs weren't that shiny at all. I don't think they're meant to shine. So, oh, here we go. Never mind. Clearly, I was off. I don't want them to be that shiny, but I think right around point two is where you kind of get that slight hint of wood grain. A teensy bit shiny, but not much. All right. And clearly, one thing I forgot to mention is that I'm using backface culling so that I'm not going to render excuse me, I'm not going to render edges and faces that you're not going to see. The only problem would be that there are tops of these table legs that are inside this piece, which are going to be rendered, but this is a relatively simple object, so I'm not going to worry about that. And to be honest with you, since I'm here, I'm probably going to take some of the clear coat off this table. Something about it just doesn't seem right. Yeah, this doesn't need to be that strong. In fact, I might leave this exactly the way it is with no clear coat. All right. Let me think about it. Let me think about it actually. All right. Let me grab something temporarily, folks. I'll be back in just a bit. Hi, folks. I'm back. Thanks for waiting for me. Good afternoon to everybody that just jumped in. I am DigiDriver, and we are doing some Blender work today for Microsoft Flight Simulator. I am working on a coffee table right now for my flight school at KPYM Plymouth Municipal Airport. I just finished assembling the material for the wooden leg, which I kind of like actually. It's a nice dark texture, and I'm going to apply that to the other legs as well. I do like it when things are easy to do. And there we go. Okay, so this ain't bad. This ain't bad. I had a clear coat on top of the table, but honestly, I kind of didn't like the way it looked. Um, but at the same time, it's hard to see that table be more reflective without it. But this is something which is going to go inside of a building, which is probably not going to show up. And I might even apply levels of detail to this, even though it's kind of difficult to do. It's not really going to be an issue. Like I said, this is a pretty simple object. But levels of detail might help to unload textures when you're far enough away from the object, so it might not be a bad idea. Okay, but enough chatting. Let's go ahead and see if it changes. And now we're going to go ahead and export this. It would be cool if my Blender didn't crash. There we go. Praise the Lord, it did not. Let's export this. So we have a new revision, but I need to take care that I don't rename the GLTF file that I create. It's still coffee table 1. And I'm going to double check my exports. We're using any modifiers that we come up with. We don't have any right now. And we have coffee table 1 as the XML file. We're not exporting levels of detail yet. And we have the export settings remembered. One thing I do need to do though is to grab all the textures that I've used and put them in a textures folder. So I believe I used albedo, normal, and roughness textures, which I'm going to be putting in the texture folder and also putting in the texture folder in my project. Okay, albedo, normal, roughness. That should be everything I need. I'm going to dump them into the textures folder now so the build works. And I should be able to render this, export this without a problem. And now I'm going to take a look at the folder and the coffee table build. Where's my GLTF file? And there we go. And the coffee table is actually way shinier than it needs to be. You'll see what I mean. Okay, that's fine. All right, let's first grab the textures that I put in the textures folder and move them. And we're going to copy those over to the folder in MSFS. I'm going to hit the build all button, which technically should re-render everything, but hopefully it won't bork my build as well. Scenery, model lib, coffee table. Okay, well, first thing, put the textures in here. How many textures do I have so far? Okay, so about 85.8 megabytes of textures for the build, for the airport, excuse me. And I've just dumped my textures in. Let's go into the coffee table folder, and we're going to move the exported files. So I have to move the bin, GLTF, and XML files. Actually, I'm not sure about that. I might just only need to move the GLTF file because I don't think there's any changes that are done. I think the BIN and GLTF files have to be moved, but I usually move them all over just out of precaution. We're going to replace the files, and then we're going to hit the build all button in the sim, and I'm going to see what happens. Okay, this has happened in the past. This might be indicative of me having to exit the project and come back, but we'll see. Build all should reintroduce the textures or introduce them. If I have to, I will re-add the table. Okay, table's complaining for some reason. Let's see what. Reloading not implemented for file type PNG. Oh, okay. So why did it complain? It said it's not. Oh, I get it. Maybe it complained because I built it, but the PNG type wasn't expected in the textures folder just yet. So you kind of have to be careful when you do stuff like this because I think the coffee table went kablooey, like it went away. I don't know where it is right now, so I'm just going to get rid of it. We're going to re-add it from my scenery folder, and we will figure out what's up. So we'll go into Plymouth, look for the coffee table, do one-click placement. Ooh, we have a purple texture. Well, this is going to be a problem. Okay. All right. I think I know what has to happen. Uh, the problem is I have to exit the sim literally because I added a texture and tried to include it. What I probably should have done was build everything back up first and then add the file. But unfortunately, sometimes hiccups like this happen. So let's see, what can I do? Well, unfortunately, it's going to get quiet for a little bit. And I'm going to save my changes because I have to get rid of the coffee table for now. Hopefully I did not bork my scenery up, but we will see. The project is saved, and I'm going to build all again. In theory, I might be able to put it back in now, but we'll see. If I'm still getting an error, then I need to see what's up. Okay, I'm still getting an error. Let me clear the errors and let me try again. Oh, okay. Actually, I'm not getting any errors now. That's weird. The problem might be solved. So let's take a look. No, no. The textures still aren't showing up. This is an issue, and it might be an issue because I have to exit the sim in order for that to actually appear. So let me give it a shot. When you do builds like this and you're introducing textures to objects you're going to include in the sim, I think the safest course of action is to exit the sim if you're running it, and then go to the folder with the XML file and run it through the FS Package Tool Builder. So let me see what happens when I do that by hand. There is a command prompt which you aren't seeing, which is running. It is a special instance of Microsoft Flight Simulator running just to build my scenery. I want to see if there's an error that I'm getting. The build should probably tell me. Okay, finished, 50 skipped, 0 done, and 0 failed. So, I don't know. Is that correct? Coffee table 1 has my updated files, and the file timestamps are the same. Let me take a look at texture. I'm just checking to see if anything actually happened to the texture files. Unfortunately, it's taking a while to load the textures inside the texture folder. Hopefully it won't be too much longer. Wow, this is taking a while. Hopefully everybody is doing okay this afternoon or evening, or maybe even early morning if you're an extremely early riser. I think it's about to be like 5 a.m. soon in Sydney or Tokyo. If you have to get up early because you're a baker, respect for you. Hmm. Why are my files loading so slowly? I don't know. I'm going to leave them alone. I think I'm going to load back into the sim and see if that was good enough to get everything set. And I believe the Papua New Guinea and Hawaii World Update happens tomorrow for the sim. So I might update that at some point tomorrow so that I'm ready to fly. I don't know if I'll be flying into Hawaii, but I might check out like Christmas Island or something, or Kiribati, I think that's how it's spelled or said. But we will see. Kind of amazing to think this summer will be 3 years that we've had this sim, and it's been quite a trip. Not that Microsoft has single-handedly revived the genre, but they have brought a lot of attention back to flight simulation, which is good for folks like me that like to fly. Haven't been doing as much flying lately because I've been trying to get this project done, but I might do a little flight today, or I might play something else. We will see. I will also likely continue working on the project over the week, just quietly. I might do some no microphone office hours, if not tonight, tomorrow. And during the week, last week I think I did Tuesday and Friday. So I might try to do Wednesday and Friday this week, just to give you guys a peek at some of the stuff that I'm doing in the sim. All right, let's jump back over to Plymouth, right over here. All right, let's go. Let's reload the scenery and see if we can get that table to show up. If we can't, there's probably some kind of issue with texture or the availability of textures, something weird. I've run into a problem like that in the past, and unfortunately, it takes a little bit of jogging the Sims memory sometimes to get everything to show up the way that you want it to. There we go. Let's go in, and here we go. I'm going to put the table back in, and hopefully everything will be in place. If it doesn't work, I'm not going to sweat it. Okay, so the texture's still messed up. I wonder why. I wonder why. The texture shows up in my 3D viewer on my desktop, so I'm not sure why it's not showing up in the sim. It could have something to do with the settings that I've enabled because I added roughness to the texture and maybe I shouldn't have. So let's see. Wood veneer albedo, wood veneer roughness, wood veneer normal. Let's just double check to make sure stuff is there. Working and lurking. Hello, complete freedom. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you, my friend. Hopefully you have been very well. I know that you are working on some projects right now, working on more flying. So happy to have you. Enjoy the lurk. I'm fixing some issues with my textures right now. All right, so wood veneer 1, we have albedo, and then we have roughness and normal. So those textures are there. I don't understand why it's not showing up. Oh, better place to go would be the texture folder, just to make sure I copy the right textures, period. Okay, so wood veneer normal, wood veneer roughness, and wood veneer albedo. And bamboo wood semi-gloss, albedo, bamboo wood semi-gloss, normal, and roughness. Okay, so let's go back to layout. Let's make sure we're actually selecting every single object. And that should be it. I don't see a reason why we have issues here. Review. All right, I'm going to mess around with this. I'm going to get rid of the roughness on the bottom. I don't care. And we're going to take a look at the material for the table legs. I'm going to get rid of all the roughness. Oh, no, I can't do that. Make it 100% rough. It's like 0.2 or something. All right, so this is a problem because, oh wow, I can't have the bottom of this thing be 100% reflective. That's an issue. We got to fix that. We have to fix that. That's why I added roughness. Okay, so roughness of like roughly 0.5 is fine. And again, I don't know why this is such an issue. But the tabletop shouldn't be so shiny. Zoom in. I think 0.4 will be fine. Just enough of a sheen to it. Okay, sorry. All right, so How do I fix this problem? I've run into this issue before with textures not showing up on objects. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to exit the sim again. So we're going to go back to the main menu, exit Microsoft Flight Simulator, and we're going to work with the object again. We're going to keep the bamboo and wood veneer textures here. I don't think the textures are borked. Yeah, I can see the PNG file, no problem. But we're going to get rid of the coffee table folder. Or maybe not get rid of the folder, we're just going to get rid of the stuff that's in it. And then we're going to go to the folder where the coffee table is, not the bench, the coffee table. All right, we're going to open this back up in Blender. You guys should be seeing that anyway. And we're going to take a look at the export settings again. So now we've gotten rid of everything. We have kind of retooled the materials. They look a little bit more realistic, I think. And now I'm going to go ahead, select everything, hit Control S, and we're going to export this again. So the textures should be in the texture folder that we're going to use, and it's bamboo and wood veneer. And I shouldn't have a problem. Something was up before, and again, it's I don't know how to say this. I think it gets really sensitive when you start to import material textures. So let's export this again. I might have to create some button shortcuts with my my Raspberry Pi Pico. Animation, geometry, selected objects. Okay, I think we should be okay. And I'm going to get rid of the GLTF file that was there before. And I think I'm going to get rid of the XML file too. Matter of fact, get rid of the bin. Okay, so now we have none of the output files from before, and now we have them back. Okay, the table is back. It looks a bit more realistic and doesn't have as much sheen to it, but you can see the wood material. So now we're okay. Simplest thing I can do is copy everything over to the MSFS folder where it exists, and we're going to take the textures. I didn't use the ambient occlusion textures, but we're going to take these textures and dump them into the texture folder for the build. So we're going to go ahead and go into the texture folder, dump them in here, get rid of the bamboo wood textures that were there before, get rid of the wood veneer textures, and we're going to dump them in. Okay, textures are back in, and we're going to get rid of the blend files that are here. Blend, 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 blend. Those are byproducts of using Blender, of course. And now we have the new files. So if I go to the main folder and put the XML file into the fsPackageTool.exe file, that should kick off a build, which is doing it right now. And because I put in new files, it should probably let me know it's processing those textures and converting them. If it doesn't, then I think we have a problem. There we go. It converted the bitmaps. That makes me feel happy because now I know it dealt with those bitmap textures and it actually processed them. And what was it? Wood veneer. I didn't see the texture, but I feel like we got it this time. Yeah, it's cool to create objects and prototype them and prototype where you're going to place them in the sim using Blender rapidly. But when you start working with different materials and material textures, it something happens. It's like something gets messed up, and it's not. It stops communicating well. I guess that's the phrase I'm looking for. I tell you what, if I can get the textures to show up on this coffee table, I'll be a happy boy. So, if anybody's been flying in a sim, what have you been flying lately? I know I did more than a few flights in the Airbus A310 and really enjoyed the aircraft. It's surprisingly detailed, and the startup is quite involved. Flying it is a treat. Landing it is a little bit of a challenge, but it's enjoyable. I think I might start doing some GA flights soon because I have started to get into flying the Cessna 414, and nice that's a nice plane. It's got a whole bunch of slightly digitized gauges, and I think plenty of steam gauges too. I don't have the GTN 750 add-on, so I have to use I think the GNS 530 version, but that's okay. And like I said, I think I'm going to start doing. I'm going to return to my my kind of wandering roots, if you will. I used to do flights from airport to airport across the U.S. in the little uh, Embraer Phenom or Phenom 100. There's supposed to be somebody bringing that plane to MSFS, but I haven't heard any release notes yet. And I think somebody already released or will release the A220 soon. It's not the one from Synapse or Synaptic Simulations that I've been following. It's somebody else. So let's load back into Plymouth and hopefully we'll have a problem solved. Yeah, folks, this is the non-glamorous side of scenery dev. Sometimes you have to deal with issues like this, and sometimes it's the really small but irritating issues that just sap your energy, and you have to decide to push forward or to look for a good solution. Otherwise, I can tell you, it really kind of takes the energy out of you if you let stuff like that bother you. And I'll be the first to admit it has bothered me before, but we do our best to get it done. We are reloading Plymouth, and hopefully we should be able to load back in quickly. Trees, of course, popping off. We are rapidly approaching the tail end of spring, and we've got lots of green, lots of bright green, and eventually lots of dark green because we're going to be going into summer. It's almost unbelievable to think that we are already more than 4 months into 2023. It's kind of nuts. It is kind of nuts. So let's jump back in and go in through the door this time. Bunk. And now we're going to put the table down. And hopefully it works this time. It should because we got the textures converted. At least I think it should. All right. There's the table. All right. So we're going to add it by hand and move it into place. That makes me happy. It's inset in the ground right now because in Blender I didn't bother lifting it. But all you have to do is remove snap to ground, lift it a teensy bit off the ground, and bam. And there you go. There is your coffee table, folks. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. A bit overemphasized on the detail, but I like the presentation. Actually, I think I did the exact opposite. I made the legs shiny and the tabletop not so shiny, but you could argue that it's been used fairly well. And to put it in perspective, I think that's about as tall as you'd probably want a coffee table anyway. Any taller, it's basically a dining table, a dining set. But there we go. I'm happy about that. I'm very happy about that. Uh, in a nutshell, that's basically the process that you'd be following to do things like building other chairs, lamps, things of that nature, and, you know, doors, doorknobs, all that stuff. So there you go. Not too shabby. Now, in case you've missed it, I have been working on Plymouth Municipal Airport for the past 6 months. I created custom objects for the hangars. I need to build some more custom objects for the surrounding buildings, and I created these things as custom textures. So, eventually, I'm going to want to finish these up so that we actually get done and I can release this on Sim Market, make a little bit of dough. I think I'd like to take the proceeds from the sales of KPYM and use them to attend FS Expo, but we're going to see. It depends. It depends on the public and what the public thinks of my airport and whether or not this is going to be good enough for them or if it's a hobby that I do for fun and make a little bit of change on, which is what it is. If it's not something that's going to replace my current full-time job, it's not. But we'll take you on a quick tour just in case you haven't seen anything. Plymouth Municipal Airport is a general aviation airport in Plymouth, Massachusetts. And by Plymouth, I mean Plymouth Rock. Can I see anything out there? Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to check something. I installed the We Love VFR add-on, which adds a whole bunch of what would I call it? It has a whole bunch of landmarks to major geographic regions. Like I downloaded and installed the packages for I think Europe and Asia and North America. Right now, I do not have my photogrammetry turned on, I don't think. I'll double check. Yeah, photogrammetry is turned off. I kind of don't like photogrammetry as it exists in the sim right now. Um, I don't hate it. I just wish the algorithm worked better. Now, I forget where Plymouth Rock is precisely, but We Love VFR is supposed to add a whole bunch of buildings and kind of fill in some of the gaps that exist or that aren't represented. I think all of this is just stock scenery, but I think We Love VFR adds things like uh, wind fans and smokestacks and I think power stations. Let me see. Yeah, I think those things are part of the We Love VFR add-on. Yeah, this isn't my scenery. This is just what I've seen. And this is the town of Plymouth. I don't know what this is, probably a university of some kind, but it's not bad. I think this is a stock object or a mall. Also, folks, I have a question for you. What do you prefer? Do you prefer seeing parallax or fake 3D structures inside buildings, or do you prefer nicely detailed two-dimensional textures? I'm going to say I prefer highly detailed 2D textures. And here's why. I think to a certain extent, if you see flat but highly detailed details, you I I feel like your brain kind of makes up the difference and things look the way that they, I don't know, should look in your head. I understand, this is a sim. I'm not expecting it to be different. I'm not expecting it to be incredibly stupid, crazy immersive. But for me, I like more details than less details, which is why I spend time making things like this. Like the mini hangars for the aircraft with the door handles and um, the custom buildings and the custom hangars and things like that, and adding a whole bunch of start positions for airplanes. You can literally start from any of these ramp positions. You can also start from one of these helipads, which I've recently added. I don't know if I'm going to touch them up or make them a little bit different. I might add some like oil splotches or something, but I'm not worried about that right this instant. What I could probably do today is also work on one or two more things in Blender. I don't know. I don't know. I might go for a flight. I might. I mean, the aircraft is here, but uh, I'm of two minds about this. Let's see what we do. I'm going to go ahead and pop Blender back on, and we're going to maybe create one more object. So let's see. We built the table. What else can we build? Actually, let me go inside the building real fast. What else would I expect to see in a place like this besides a bigger table? I have some chairs that I can use and enhance, but at the same time, I'm not worried about that right now. What do I want? What do I want? Do I want to create shelves like chair rails? Or do I want do I want to create a coffee machine? Ooh, maybe I could do that. All right, let's do this. I am going to search really quick and see if I can make even a rudimentary looking coffee machine and put it in the sim. So let's try coffee machine dimensions. I'm not looking for anything particularly fancy, just whatever helps me write or something. Okay, that's an espresso maker, but I might be able to interpolate the dimensions. Coffee machine. All these are professional. The anatomy of an espresso machine. Let me know in chat if you like drinking coffee. I do. A comparison chart. And Keurig. If I put it in the sim, probably call it a Brewrig instead of a Keurig. Let's see, what else? Da, 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 da. Yeah, I don't see dimensions for a coffee maker, so I guess I'm gonna have to interpolate or just figure out what a Keurig or just a regular like Hamilton Beach or Farberware machine looks like. Whoa, a Cuisinart coffee maker. How big is this? Product dimensions 9.33 inches by 11.03 by 12.13. So I think it's, okay, that's up. That's the space it requires, but that's okay. All right, good enough. Good enough. Let's make a coffee maker. Let's make a coffee maker. Because they drink coffee at the school. They have to. They have to. They absolutely have to. Do I want the cube? Keep the cube, get rid of everything else. Oh, no, 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 no. I said keep the cube. Here we go. All right. Since I'm prototyping it, I can probably get it to show up in the sim really quickly. Planet neutral. Hello, friend. Good to see you. Thank you for saying hello. We are building objects in Blender to include in my new airport scenery, which hopefully should be out sometime in May. I know I said I was shooting for April, but it's going to be more of a it's done when it's done, and I wanted to have details. So part of what I'm doing today is I'm going to create another thing to include in the actual building. And yes, I am building a coffee maker. And yes, it has absolutely no impact on people being able to fly, unless you debate that drinking coffee helps you be alert. In the sim, however, it's irrelevant. Do I care? No. I'm having fun. So if we take the generic dimensions for a coffee maker, it's going to have a back. Fictional airport? No, actually. Kilo Papa Yankee Mike. That is Plymouth Municipal Airport. And I will give you the deets that I have online. So, PYM Airport, there's a literal website for it. It's pymairport.com, and it's right here. And one of my friends, Eric Flight, flies out of PYM on a regular basis. And I have been working to build and to complete the setup for the airport for the past 6 months. I think I've been over focusing on certain areas and less on others, but at the same time, it's been an adventure for me. I'm learning more about creating sceneries for Microsoft Flight Sim, and I'd like to do this professionally, but of course, to get to be a professional, you have to have actual product people buy. I do already have Whiskey 904, which is a private airport available on Sim Market. This would be my second release. So, there we go. And that's right, I was thinking about the dimensions for the coffee maker. So let's do this. I'm going to have a vertical slab for the coffee. I'm going to have a transparent slab for the water reservoir. And I'm going to have the lip where the coffee mug sits. And then a piece on top where the coffee is poured. So this has to be reshaped naturally. So if it's 11 inches wide, it's probably going to be an 8 or 9-inch base. Everything gets processed through it. Maybe like a 2-inch wide reservoir for the water. So let's do that. All right, so this is the coffee maker back. And this will be, I think, roughly 12 inches high and about 8 inches wide, and probably about 4 inches thick. So let's see. If I'm looking at it from this angle, that is thickness, that is length. Okay, so this is going to be 4 inches, and this will be about 8 inches long. It gets really small really quick. And we'll go with 12 inches high, and there's our coffee maker. There's the back for the coffee maker. That's the back. I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to make the other slab a side of it. And this will be the slab that's 4 inches. 4 inches wide. Okay. So here we go. And do I care whether or not it's completely transparent? I kind of do, but I'm just making the bare bones pieces right now. Coffee maker, water, reservoir. And then you have the piece which is going to go in front of this, which is going to pour the coffee. So we're going to copy this. We're going to coffee this. There we go. I need some coffee. Give me some coffee. Some coffee. All right, so essentially, it's probably going to be about here. I'm going to offset it. Well, not offset, it's going to be almost centered. Does that look right? Yes, yes, it does. So, if this is 12 inches high, I'm going to say it's a little bit less than half that height. So this is probably going to be about 5 inches high. 5 inches high, and we're going to raise it. Wait, does it really need to be 5 inches high? It's probably more like 4 or 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think 3. 3 inches should be fine. And not that wide, actually. This is the width. And what do I want the width to be? Literally a third. So about 4 inches wide. And the portion that extrudes out, that's probably just how how what's the inches to diet to typical coffee mug? I have one right next to me. What would I figure? Coffee mug would be about 2-inch diameter, 2.5-inch diameter, or if you really like drinking coffee, 3 to 4 inches. But we'll say coffee maker. Pouring device. And the pouring device is probably going to be about, I'm going to say 2.5 inches. So this is where the coffee sits. And then you have that lip at the bottom that holds the coffee and holds any excess spillover. So we can coffee this. We can coffee this and make this the spillway. So there we go. Make this the coffee maker spillway. I'm actually having some fun with this, believe it or not. And this is probably 1 inch or less. So here we are. Just enough to hold it in place. That's all. So just like that, we have an idea of how this is going to look. I could make a case for splitting this into 3 objects, but let me just make this semi-transparent for now. Wait, should I? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to make a lid for the top, a base for the bottom, and then this will actually be the entire water reservoir, which makes me think it is, yeah, it's very similar in dimensions. So 1 inch on top, actually less than 1 inch on top, 1/2 inch on top and 1 inch on the bottom for the base, which means instead of it being 12 inches high, it's going to be 10.5 inches high. 10.5 inches high. We'll just do 10 inches. Oh no, wait, 10.5 inches high. There's a reason why I'm doing that. I want it to look decent. Why is Digi putting that much attention to detail into something like this? Well, because Digi likes putting attention to detail. Oh, wait, before I do that. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. That's correct. Make this 1 inch. And we're going to put this at the bottom. Okay, good. And now we're going to put maybe just the tiniest thing on top. And we're going to call this the water reservoir base. We could call this the coffee maker base. And we're going to grab this, copy and paste it, and stick it on top. Click the newly duplicated thing that you create, otherwise it's going to move the original object. And this one will just be a 1/2 inch tall. And there you go. Just a basic idea, just to give you an idea what a coffee mug will look like. I almost feel like this should be bigger. What did I make this? 2.5 inches? Oh, no. X. 2.5 inches. Yeah, that's what I made it. Let's make it 4. Let's say there are some folks that really like drinking coffee and they want to be able to bring their thermos or like their to-go cup, whether it's a Yeti or like a Stanley or something, whatever you have that you drink warm liquids out of. So essentially, this is what we have. And I like it making my stuff nice and noticeable. Iowa Scotsman, hello friend, welcome aboard, glad to have you. We are making a coffee maker for our airport. And I'm actually enjoying this a little bit more than I thought I was going to. So, all it is a bunch of polygons right now, so give me a moment. I'm going to save this. Because if you're going to have a coffee table and you're going to drink coffee, you need a coffee maker. So, we'll call it a coffee maker, and it'll be my first prototype. And the file will be coffee-maker-1.blend. There is our file, and we are in build mode. Now we're going to do something. We're going to basically do some really quick prototyping of what the materials will be. I'm going to create a new material. Well, first material we'll build is the base. Coffee coffee cup. Just call this coffee liquid base. This is going to be the dark piece, and we're going to color this black. And you can't see that because I'm not in material mode, which is interesting because I just copied I just copied that color onto that as well. That's funny. We're going to make this a different material. We're going to choose material 01, and we're going to call this the coffee base. This we're going to color different. We're going to color this like a kind of candy apple red. Okay, so this is fully red, but we can also make it a little dark. Even just a third. And we will add some material effects to it just to give it the idea. Just a really simple approach. Oh, I get it. I get it. We picked red, and this is how much red to include. I think right around there is where the red really pops. And we're going to put the same material on here and on here. Actually, you know what? No, this has to be transparent. So coffee, water, cap, and coffee, water, container. And this will be transparent. Base color. We'll change that. And how do we make it transparent? Okay. Oh, I renamed this. Okay, that's fine. Lesson learned. We'll make this coffee base. It's really easy to forget. Really easy to forget what colors you're working with or what materials you're working with. So take those out and we'll make this about there. Maybe a touch brighter. Yeah, that should do it. So again, we'll pick this for coffee base and coffee liquid base, and we'll put coffee liquid base here, and this will be what we're going to actually make transparent. Alpha should be totally done. It should be completely transparent. Ooh, is someone here? Oh, nice. I think someone's coming into to Boston. Nice. That's cool to see. Happy landings. I was just having some fun. I think you guys are only seeing my my Blender screen though, so I apologize. I um I heard a plane flying overhead, so I was just like, "Oh, what is that?" So, blend mode opaque. We'll do blend mode alpha blend. There we go. I had to choose alpha blend. And alpha blend makes it completely transparent. Um, okay, there we go. There we go. A little bit of dark tinge. Um, 0.3 should probably be fine. Now we see it. And there we go. So this is basically a rough idea. And this is the water container and this is the water cap. So I want this to be transparent as well, although not as transparent. So we're going to pick blend mode alpha blend, and we're going to look at the alpha. Actually, is this clear as well? I want to say yes. Actually, no, it's not. Um, huh, I was wrong. Keep it opaque then. And we will make this red as well. Okay, I was wrong. What's that color blend? I'll copy the hex value. Real easy. And bam, there we go. Color matched. So this is an extremely basic, very straightforward, low poly version of a coffee machine. It eventually will get it right, but right now I'm just going to go ahead and pop it in the sim, see what it looks like, give you an idea. Maybe even use another table that I use from another one of my sceneries, and then you guys will have the idea what the finished product will look like. So meanwhile, I will just cover things up a bit. I'm even going to expand this a little bit, just a bit, just so the system is a little bit bigger. Let me see. Because what happens is if you keep the dimensions the same as they are, it's going to be just like a teensy bit bigger than what it's supposed to be. Wait, that made no sense. If you keep the dimensions the same, there's going to be texture flickering between the container for the water and the cover. So we're going to take both of these. Come on. Come on. There we go. Take both of these and move them down slightly. And there we are. And now we can take all of this and move it pretty close to the machine. And that's where it is. And this just needs to be attached. And there you go. A really basic, really straightforward, albeit super simple coffee machine. So what I might do is I might make another material for the lid and just borrow one of these and call it coffee liquid base removable lid, and then we will use a different material for this and we will keep it, I think, metallic or silver. Like a 0.3 for everything. Okay, and now we assign it to that. And there we go. Now we have where the coffee mug will sit, and then we have the base for this. And I think I'm going to do the same thing to this. Highlight that face and make this a new material and call it coffee maker spout, if you will. This one's going to be completely dark, and we assign it, and blam, there we go. Now we have a coffee maker. Okay, like I said, this is just a prototype. It's really simple. It just exists, and now I can export it, and you should see it very shortly in the sim because I'm going to export it right now. We'll eventually apply modifiers, so I'll make sure that's selected from the beginning. We will select all objects, and we're going to create the XML file, which is going to be coffee-maker-1.xml. It needs a GUID, which is an ID for the actual object in the sim. And the textures will eventually be in /texture, which we won't need right now. And I'm going to go ahead and delete those just so I don't run into issues. And then we should be able to import that into the sim, and you guys should see it. So where am I? Yeah, feature library assets, coffee maker, and what was I copying? Oh, I wasn't copying anything. I was getting rid of textures. Silly me. All right, now we can export this. Okay, coffee maker is built and it doesn't exist because I haven't selected anything. Of course not. That'll keep me honest. Now I think we should be ready. And there we go. Unfortunately, the transparent glass is so transparent it doesn't look like it's there. So I need to fix the extent of that. Base color is like super transparent. It's not. Why is it not showing up? There we go. I added, I removed all roughness. So I'm going to keep the roughness to probably like 0.075. And that should allow it to shine a bit. I don't care that it's completely transparent. I just want it to show up. I know it sounds like I'm rambling. Pardon me. I will be able to show you very shortly. Okay, so it's not showing me any effects at all. Okay, it's still not working. I wonder why not. All right, so the base color, interesting. All right, I made the base color non-transparent and the alpha is there. We have an alpha blend and we're going to keep the backface culling for this. And I'm going to enable backface culling for virtually everything else while I'm at it. It just means we don't render faces we don't see. And yeah, this should be fine. I don't know what's wrong. All right, try one more time. All right, close that viewer and look at it again. Okay, so it looks like the fact that I made my base color texture completely transparent took away from what it was supposed to do. So we'll make it about a third fully transparent, and then we will save it again. That, I think, will fix my problem. All right, that's much better. It could be a bit darker, though. It could be. Let's make it half transparent. That'll really make it zing. No, don't scale it. Just save it. Okay, now I'm confident. We're going to take this coffee maker and we're going to put it in the folder for the project. If I can find it. There we go. All right, so we go package sources, scenery, airport, model lib. We're going to make a new coffee maker folder. Dump the files in, get rid of the blend files. No, not that. These two. And now I should be able to build it, and we're going to hit the build all button, which should make my object visible. Excuse me, selectable. It takes a while to build sometimes. There we go. 2 errors. Yep, I expected that. And now we're going to rebuild again. There we go. No errors this time. Great. And now we can see it in the sim. Oops. There we go. So, folks like their coffee. Let's give it to them. We'll go to my Plymouth folder, select coffee maker, add it. Ooh, someone else is here. Nice. Wait, that could actually be a real world plane. So 152, Kenmore livery. Nice. Lack of attention. Come on, Digi, concentrate. There we go. So you can see what happens when the textures sit like right on top of each other. There's a bit of blending that happens. But there's the idea. There's your coffee maker. The base and the water reservoir right there. So what I could do is take my mug and bring it in, and then put it on top of the coffee maker and see if it's big enough. So we rotate it a little bit, and there we go. Move it a touch, bring it up a bit, and there we go. I'm ready to make some coffee. The texture is bothering me a little bit, so I'm going to work this in Blender a bit, and we're going to fix that on the fly. So what I could do is grab both of these, no, just you two, and bring it down into the base just a touch more. And that should, in theory, get rid of the other flickering, but we'll find out. Now, all I should need to do is copy over the bin, GLTF, and XML files that I just built. And where was I? Coffee tables in here. Coffee makers in here. Bin, GLTF, XML. And now we're going to put that in here, and what should happen is that it should reload on the fly. Okay. And now the effect is worse. I wonder why. All right. Let's undo what we did before. And actually, we'll lift it up even higher. Save the changes, export them. Keep in mind, this is a bit of a hack job for me, so it just, like, I'm doing this really, really, really fast. So there's some faces that I don't need to keep, in terms of rendering the object. So there we go. There we go. There's a really quick hack, and in here it's kind of capturing the ambient lighting. But there you go. A really basic rough draft of what a coffee maker looks like with a mug on top, which I will save for fun. And it doesn't have that many polygons, so I'm not going to worry about levels of detail. Eventually, I could and probably should, even for very simple things, because then it will allow those things to unload if necessary. And yeah, yeah, that's about it. That's about it. The coffee mug eventually de-renders a bit as you walk away from it. The level of rendering is a bit extreme. Like you can see it get smaller in detail as you look away from it. But that's also an experiment that I want to get better at. So, not too bad. We built two things today, and I'm learning more about using Blender and getting comfortable with it. I can probably keep on working on more and more objects here, but I would probably prefer to work on them, during my office hours so that if you want to come in and see the process, you can. But I don't want to, I don't want to show you guys a whole bunch of stuff and just be like, okay, now we're going to work on a set of blinds. It's like, oh, okay, more polygon stuff, more stuff like that. I think what is it that I'm trying to say? I want to show you guys the process on the macro level, and I don't want to show you so many details that it's like, oh, okay, he's going to pick this polygon again. He's going to touch that polygon again. But at the same time, I do like cluing you guys into the build and what's going on. This has been a project I've been working on for literally half a year, and hopefully it will be out and released and available for download. This is a work in progress build, so build quality is certainly not representative of the final result. And I still have a lot to learn. I still have to add some more buildings, customize some things, randomize some things, and eventually make things better. But we will see. We will see. Now, it's about 3 p.m. on the Eastern Seaboard. K Koala 2010, hello, good afternoon. Welcome aboard. You have joined us as we are on the tail end of our developer stream today. I am giving you guys a quick tour of the airport and the changes that we've made so far. We have created some taxiway lines and redone the signs for the airport. This is a general aviation airport with a east-west and north-south runway. The east-west runway has a instrument approach, I believe, for runway 6, and it has some features. I forget what the exact features are for the ILS, but I was talking more about the airport. This, believe it or not, belongs to, I believe, the Massachusetts State Police. These helipads are for their helicopters. And then you have a whole bunch of general aviation helipads. The start positions were askew by 90 degrees, and the T's were not in place, so I added them each individually. The hangars are custom. These are just simple, thrown together. I'd like to try to fill this up with some stuff, some clutter, some basic models, and maybe even some static aircraft. The interior of the building is a custom build, and now I can't see myself, which is strange, but that's okay. It could just be a reload of the sim. That might have to happen. I'm not worried about that right now. If it's not there when I come back, I'll just, replace those objects. We did do some work on the entrance. I might create a new beacon tower because this is a little bit too big for this airport, and I still need to create the terminal building here. I also wrapped most of the airport, if not the entire airport, in fence, and because of my friend Eric Flight, I was able to get some pictures of things like the entry signs for the front of this airport. So I tell you what I'm going to do, because for some reason I can't see those anymore, and this I think I've seen this happen before. I'm going to exit the sim. I'm going to exit the airport and come back into it. And then when I load back into it, you should see the start positions and such that we've created. Okay, So this is representative of what you would see as a user if you downloaded and installed the airport. There are roughly some, I don't know, 100, 140 start positions across the west ramp, the east ramp, and the north ramp. You can start on a runway if you want to, and there are multiple helipads you can choose from. I'm probably going to take some time to relabel these for state police activity, and I might even add a few start positions inside the west ramp if you want to start inside a hangar. I might. I haven't decided on that just yet. But let's pick a start position here. And hopefully that will bring everything in that I've rendered so far. And here we are. So, unlike the default airport, you're facing up or down the runway on the west ramp starting spots. And if we wanted to, we could increase parked vehicle traffic, and I can show you what kinds of aircraft show up at the airport. So we'll go to traffic. We will do ground aircraft density, and we'll take it to 100. And here we are. Mostly small GA aircraft. I think this is a Hawker. Oh no, wow. This is a beach jet. Dude. Here is a old school Learjet Life Med and a Beechjet 400. Let's see, we have some aircraft here, not a lot. And over there, ooh, over there I think we have a couple more. Taxi lines are hand painted, although I think I need to make a line crossing the runway. And here are some classic Learjets. And what else do we have? Ooh, looks like an overseas jet. What else do we have? Just somebody parked here. And some ground texture work. This is a problem. I'm gonna have to double check my materials because this isn't supposed to be drawn here. So I'm glad I took a look. Default buildings, but custom groundwork. And what else am I missing? This is interesting. Yeah, yeah. I need a taxi line that goes straight across the runway. That was funny. That was funny. Oh, yeah, I missed this airplane too. And do I have my table and chair? I do have my table and my coffee, my sofa and my mug and my coffee maker. I gotta check those textures. I'm running into some texture fighting there. open hangars with aircraft. Again, I need to put some, some clutter here, change this floor so it's a little bit dirtier maybe. And there you go. So that's a rough idea of the airport, and I'm hoping to release it soon on Sim Market once it's done, once everything's rendered. But it's going to take a little bit of time. It will. Hmm. What do I want to do next? I've been streaming for about 2 hours now. So I think what I might do is I might actually cut out at this point, take a break, stretch, and maybe do some offline flying. I generally keep my flights offline these days because I like to focus my streams more on scenery development. I was debating flying today on stream, but I think I changed my mind. If I do fly, it'll probably be something that I do later this week. I just, I think I got like hyper focused on building some models. I don't want to get over focused on building the models for the sim. But let me stretch for a little bit. I'm gonna make my decision and see if I'm actually gonna do a quick flight. If I do, I'm probably gonna use this plane because I enjoy flying it. And if I don't, then I might go flying something like the A310 or the 414 because this is what I loaded into the aircraft with, into the airport with. I don't know how to start the 414 just yet, so I might learn that this week or just have some fun. So, give me a few moments, folks, and I'll be right back. All right, folks, I'm back. I just double checked. I do think I'm going to be done for today. I appreciate everybody that stopped by and gave me support for the build. I do enjoy building things for the flight sim. I think I just need to find my groove and really nail down what the process should be over the next, you know, rest of the year. We're not into May or June yet, but we're about halfway through. And if I can finish Plymouth in time, my next project will probably kick off somewhere between either July or August. And I'm probably going to be doing some freeware things between then and now. So, like doing a project or two for a friend for fun, or a really small airport where I can build things really fast. So, we'll see what's up. In the meantime, it is about 3 in the afternoon. Let's go ahead and take a look and see who's on the week I can point you folks to for some more fun. And let me rearrange my view. Okay, so right now we got Tuto Murphy, we've got Ian Fisher 101, MHD Transport Gaming, Flight Sim Stream, and who else do we have? Oh, Scottish Scottish Pilot is flying from Split to Munich on Eurowings. Ucandu is on. Kenko is on. Clear Takeoff is on. Let me see what Scottish Pilot is up to. Okay, looks like he is just getting started, so we're gonna go say hello. And I like saying hi to folks and being with them for before I duck out. But again, folks, thank you so much for stopping in and saying hello. Have a great rest of the day, Iowa, Wisconsin. I appreciate having you on board. Again, thank you. Thank you so much for the 414. I think I'm going to take it up after this stream is done and do some GA flying in Massachusetts, maybe even New Hampshire, or go fly down in South Carolina. But folks, stick around for the raid, please. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Let's just go ahead and raid Scottish Pilot. And like I always like to say at the end of every stream, if you don't, if you, I'm getting mixed up. If you want true peace, you want the Prince of Peace, and that's Jesus Christ. Take care, folks. Have a great rest of your day and enjoy your week.